Tired of your car insurance rate going up, even with a clean driving record? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
2 delightful ghost stories today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you guys are having a great day too. I know that didn't sound super... Here's the thing, it doesn't sound super sincere. I really do hope you guys are having a great day. I'm not doing well. That's why we didn't have more episodes last week. I just recorded the one and went radio silent. Say it with me now, everyone. What's going on with me? It's my tooth. This is your first episode. You're like, wait, what? Am I supposed to know that? Is that Jason lore? Yeah, my tooth. I know I said I had the mouth of a super soldier. And this is all going to be confusing if this is your first episode. You're the most entertaining yet bizarre podcast ever. I know I said I had the mouth of a super soldier. I have a healing factor of Wolverine, but only within my jaw. And I still believe that. However, I did have oral surgery done last week. And it is not pleasant. I did not expect... I've had a tooth pulled before. It was nothing. So I figured, they told me they were going to shave down some bone and push away some muscle tissue. I was like, okay, doc, go ahead. Well, turns out that really hurts. It really hurts to have your bone shaved. I was like, I'll be fine. The thing that I used to make money, my mouth, I wasn't able to do last week. And it also sucked all the energy out of me. And something else is wrong. I have some sort of infection or something going on in there. My jaw is still pretty sore. And I can taste something gross. And there's some weird flap or something. I do have a follow-up visit tomorrow. But I want to let you guys know something. This is going to be the last week before the end of the season. I planned on pushing this out further. I was going to take my 2-week break in April after the Ghost Convention, Oregon Ghost Conference. Come see me live. I'll be down there March 27th through the 29th. More info in the show notes. But I think I have to take it now. I really debated even recording episodes this week because my mouth really hurts. And so we're just going to tough it out, though. We are going to put out episodes this week. We're going to have 3 of them. But they're going to be a little shorter than normal. I know I say that all the time. They end up being 50 minutes. But trust me, I can't talk and edit that much content right now. So they're going to be a little bit shorter. Today we're just going to do 2 ghost stories. Tomorrow we'll do a Max Kramer episode. Max Kramer March continues. I still have actually a lot more stuff, but after that, after this week, I hope to have that bonus episode out. After this week, I'm going to take next week and the week after that off, so there will be new episodes appearing at the end. It'll be March 31st. I'll take 2 weeks off. I'll be at the Ghost Conference for the weekend, and that's good because it actually gives me time to rest, and I need to do a lot of prep for the Ghost Conference this year. But someone who doesn't need to do any prep, someone who's always ready to go, someone whose mouth isn't constantly in pain, everyone get on your feet and give it up for Mewtube. Woohoo, yeah, he's walking on in. I imagine he has a cat mouth. Mewtube, because Mew. Well, maybe that's like mewing. Maybe he has a really defined jaw. Anyways, Mewtube made a donation during our Thanksgiving live stream special. That is why he is going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially through the merch store, the Patreon, or Jason, you really sound like you're phoning it in. No, trust me, I really want to do this. I feel bad I didn't give you enough stuff last week, but I'm not phoning it in. My enthusiasm, right? I'm sore. But if you guys can't support the show financially through the merch store or the Patreon or the live streams, totally fine. It really is. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Okay, Mewtube, let's go ahead and get this party started. Have we used this before? Mewtube, I'm going to go ahead and toss you some paddles. Everyone climb on board the Carpenter Canoe as we fit into this little watercraft. And Mewtube rows us down the river. We're leaving behind Dead Rabbit Radio Command. I don't even know what sound effects I'm going to do. I'm already like, why didn't I invent this? What does a canoe sound like? I had a friend who almost died in a canoe once. He's a good friend of mine. He went by the name Gherkin. That was his rap name back when we were rappers. He might still be a rapper, I don't know. But he was canoeing. Maybe it was a kayak. That makes a little more sense. But he was coming down the Sacramento River in his waterborne craft. It's one person, so either a canoe or a kayak. And it flipped over. Now, I'm pretty sure it was a kayak because he was stuck. I think if a canoe flipped over, you'd be like, wee! I guess I'm swimming now. I'm no longer in a boat. No, he flipped over, but he couldn't get out, so he was underwater for a while. And he's like, I thought I was going to drown because I couldn't right the boat, and I couldn't, wiggle out. So it had to have been a kayak. Totally different. Don't know why this story popped in my head. Also, I'm trying to talk less. That's why these episodes are supposed to be shorter. Anyways, he's alive and well. At least I think. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years. I'm assuming he's still around. But he didn't die that day. That's the important part. Why don't you go ahead, YouTube, and row us out on this carpenter canoe? We're leaving behind Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Why don't you row us all the way out to a mental hospital? Oh, splash. Oh, splash. Oh, splash. Oh, you go, that's the same sound effect for the rabbit rowboat. No, it's not. It's quicker if you pay attention. Oh, splash. Oh, splash. I knew a rower once. I knew a girl who was like a competitive rower in college. And she had to have been 6 feet tall and a very developed chest, we might say, right? She definitely, it was amply built. And now you go, Jason, this is some gross story. No, it's actually a very interesting story, I think. She was a rower. She was very attractive. She was tall. She was fit. Massive legs, too. I don't know how she got those giant horse muscle legs because she just sat in a boat all day long. But anyway, she was a rower. Yeah, she was weird. She was actually super nice. She was very attractive. But she, you know how people, sometimes you meet people, they don't know they're attractive? That was her. Not like in a I'm not vain way. She had zero clue that she was hot. It was one of the weirdest things I've seen. I've met people, obviously, who are attractive who go, oh, I'm not that cute. But they know. She didn't. I don't know what type of upbringing she had. I don't know where she had grown up before coming to college. But I remember it was so bad. It was very interesting. Her body language was that of a lanky 15-year-old boy. And she was a very curvaceous, very attractive woman in her early 20s. I think she was 19, 20 at the time. And she would sit with her legs spread apart, and she would kind of hang her head down, not out of shame, but just she was weird. She was totally fit. She was a rower. I remember it came to a point where I talked to a couple of my girlfriends that I had class with, who I also had class with, this rower girl. Let's call her Rebecca. I don't remember her real name, but a couple of the girls in class I was friends with, I go, hey, we need to have an intervention with Rebecca. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I go, she's very attractive. And they're like, yeah, she's pretty hot. And I go, but have you ever noticed she doesn't act like she's attractive? She kind of acts and sits and kind of talks like a 15-year-old boy. And they go, yeah, that is odd. They started to pay attention to it. I go, watch how she sits. Watch how she sits. Her body language is of a dorky high school student, a boy high school student. And, they go, wow, you're right. She does carry herself like that. But why do you need to have an intervention? I go, we need to have an intervention because I can almost guarantee if she doesn't, and this is probably shouldn't admit any of this out loud, but I thought it was an interesting story. It was interesting at the time. I said, here's the thing. Listen, she does not realize that she is a catch. Because she's smart and she's funny and she's very attractive and she's driven. But she carries herself like a dork. And what I am afraid of is that some guy is going to realize, wow, look at this diamond in the rough. Look at all you ugly girls also in class. Sorry, no offense, ladies. Look at all you threes. That's easily a 9. I said, what's going to happen is that a guy's going to start paying attention to her and she's going to fall for him. I go, I don't think she's ever had a boyfriend. I don't think a guy's ever paid attention to her because she's so off-putting. Just her body language. I go, what's going to happen is the wrong guy is going to find her and take advantage of her. And they're like, yeah, I guess you're right. That is probably just like, please stop talking to us. We made that complaint against the dean. You're not supposed to be in this class anymore. But you called us all threes. We did. We started now, I couldn't do it, right? Because I'm a dude. But I was talking to the guy, and I go, you see what I mean? Like, she should be dating enough guys that she can make an informed decision on the type of guy she wants to be with. I go, that's just my read on it. Because I've met girls like this in my life, and if they are just big dorks, they're really easy to take advantage of. The same thing, it's easy to take advantage of a male dork, right? If you don't know your own worth. So anyways, I talked to the girls about it, and they go, yeah, you're right. So they actually did like a mental makeover on her. And she found out that I was kind of the maestro. We were friends. We spoke in class. I just thought it was so weird. But she found out I was the maestro behind this whole makeover. And the reason why I know she knows is because maybe a couple of years later, we talked every so often after class, like after we stopped taking class together. But I remember, like maybe 2 or 3 years later, she called me one night. Because she had graduated community college and was now at a state college. And she called me to thank me about what I had done all those years ago. She goes, you helped me realize that I'm not just a dorky girl. And I'm in college now, and I'm dating all of these guys. And I am kind of like realizing what am I looking for? She never thought she had any options because she was just a big goofball anyways. So she carried herself like a goofball. I was afraid the wrong guy was gonna... When you are looking for... there's different types of daters out there, right? But you have the guys who look for weakness. And then, that's how women who would never end up in a bad relationship can end up in a bad relationship. So anyways, that was my... makeover. How do you like that? 2 completely unrelated stories, and all I did was bring up the concept of a canoe. There we go. So much for a short episode. There you go. Jason's makeover. Jason, the makeover maestro. And I was happy for her. I mean, like, here's the thing. She wasn't necessarily my type. I don't date dorks. But here's the thing. She wasn't my type. I wasn't like, damn it, she was supposed to fall for me. No, I wasn't interested in her at all like that. But it was super... It was good. It was good. All of us. And here's the thing. If I had brought that up to the ladies and they go, what? That's a terrible idea. Then I would have dropped it. But the fact that they agreed with me, and they also, I think, kind of saw it as a challenge. They're like, oh, this is fascinating study. Can we turn this girl who thinks she's a loser? It was very a she's all that type of thing. Can we take this girl who thinks she's a loser and teach her, like, how to be a lady, how to be a woman? So anyways, that is that story. Right? I don't know. Listen, the episode's supposed to be short. I'm already 15 minutes into the recording. Let's get to the ghost. So anyways, we're headed out to this mental hospital. Speaking of mental hospitals, once I sent someone there. No, I'm just joking. We're at this mental hospital. We're about to meet a young man. We don't have his real name. We'll call him Johnny. We don't have the location either. Although this might just be most mental hospitals. Right? Anyways, his job, he sounded kind of like an orderly, did a bunch of stuff. This particular job, he was pushing the lunch cart back to the cafeteria. I'm sure when you're crazy, you either eat a lot or you don't eat anything at all. I don't think anyone who's gone insane has a normal appetite. That's the one normal thing about him. He eats exactly 2,000 calories a day. Other than that, he's a stark raving lunatic. I'm sure, I've heard that when people go insane, they get fat. What? Where'd you hear that from? Well, here's the thing. Okay, to be fair, I didn't hear that, but I've kind of observed it. Have you ever noticed that? When people go insane, they seem to pack on the weight. There actually is a study, I remember reading this a while ago, there was a study about, does obesity have a link to schizophrenia? Now, I don't remember what the conclusion was. I have it saved. I wanted to cover it. But there is either a link or not a link. It's one of the two. There's either a total cause and effect. If you're schizophrenic, you're overweight. Or if you're overweight, you're not schizophrenic. I don't remember exactly what it was. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll cover it on a later episode. But, because you're crazy. right? You're nuts. So, like, you're going to want comfort food because you've gone insane. It'd be the one thing that you could control. You're like, Dairy Queen again. Dairy Queen again. Oh, yes. Eating it all. And then you pay with fake money because you're crazy. But also I've heard, or not that I've heard, I guess I just kind of put this together. Keep saying I've heard it. I imagine that a lot of the antipsychotic drugs make you bloat up. I'm just a guess, right? I have nothing to back this up about a study, other than a study that I don't remember the results on. But anyways, because it makes sense, right? It makes sense. A lot of times, think about it. Think about all the crazy people you've known in your life. How many have been chubby? How many have been chubby at the very least? Because I think they probably... Or, here's the thing. You could just be so crazy you stop eating. So it's one or the other. Either being crazy makes you eat too much, or being crazy makes you not eat at all. I doubt there's a normal appetite there. It's one or the other. But anyways, the reason why I bring that up, this guy's probably pushing this cafeteria cart. It either has no plates on it, or all the plates in the world. It's one or the other. He's pushing this cafeteria cart through the hospital, through the psych ward, and then all of a sudden he sees a kid run by right in front of the cart. So much so that Johnny actually is afraid that he hit the kid. Like, the kid ran in front of the cart so close. Johnny not only was afraid he was going to hit him, actually he did make impact with this kid. The cart hit him, and Johnny's obviously both pissed off that this kid was running in front of him, and upset that he hit a kid. Like, you'd feel bad about it, but you'd also be kind of pissed off. What's the kid doing there in the first place? And he says that. He goes, "Yo, dude, what are you doing? Didn't you see me pushing this cart? Why are you running in front of my cart?" But then when he looks over to the front of the cart to see if the kid's, like, sprawled out on the ground, the kid is not sprawled out on the ground. In fact, there's no kid there at all. And Johnny's like, "What? Like, I know someone ran by me. I know because I hit him. I actually felt the cart hit something." And then Johnny starts thinking, but wait a second. Did I actually see somebody run by? And that's when he realizes that he did. And he did hit somebody or something. He kind of plays it back in his head and he realizes he saw a kid. That's one way to put it. But he also described it as a all-black shadow child. So like the silhouette of a kid. Like a ghost. There's nothing there. And Johnny's first instinct was like, I think I'm going crazy. Because that's impossible. So he doesn't tell anybody. Which normally I say you should tell people about your ghostly experiences, but he does work in a mental hospital. That may be one of those situations where you wouldn't. Which, I mean, listen, I would tell my boss, "Hey, I'm sorry I was late for work today. There was a ghost in my closet." It's also why I'm wearing yesterday's clothes. I know they're not washed. I know we had that mud wrestling tournament yesterday, but there was a ghost in my closet. I couldn't get in there. My boss would go, "What?" I mean, obviously they wouldn't believe me, but what's the worst they could do? I'm walking around muddy everywhere, just splatting stuff. But she couldn't have me sent to the mental hospital. Johnny's already at the mental hospital. If he starts talking about seeing ghosts and hitting ghosts and stuff like that, his boss will be like, "Oh, very fascinating. Yes. Ghost, you say. All black child. Okay. Well, why don't you go in this room here and we'll have a meeting about it?" And you're like, "Okay." And then you go in there and it's a padded room and the door gets locked. You're like, "Jason, that's not how people get thrown in mental hospitals." Maybe if you're already there, though. If he was walking around downtown, they'd probably have all this paperwork they'd have to fill out. But if he already works there, they might have like a quick emergency insanity clause. And they hit a button, and then all of a sudden, your work ID flips around and it says patient ID. You're all, "No!" Get thrown in. Well, anyways, I don't think it would happen that fast, but he's afraid that he'll be labeled as crazy, so he doesn't tell anybody. Well, one day he's talking to his friend Amanda. Well, that's not her real name, but we'll call her Amanda. He's talking to his coworker, actually. Coworker/friend Amanda. Oh, yeah, this is taking a lot out of me. This is probably going to be the only thing we cover. You're like, what? And you said 2 ghost stories. You told us a story about how you manipulated a woman into becoming hot. and your friend almost died. Well, technically, the first story was kind of paranormal. He almost became a ghost. And the second one might be considered true crime because I interfered in the upbringing of another person, which may be a crime. Yeah, I'll have to wrap it up. I'm totally out of gas. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So Johnny and Amanda, it's going to be short. I'm sorry that this is a weird week. Johnny and Amanda were talking, and Amanda goes, oh, dude, yeah, this job's pretty cool, right? It's definitely entertaining. You never get bored. Eventually, someone's going to start running around ripping their hair out. And have you seen the amount of food these people eat and or don't eat? And Johnny's like, tell me about it. Amanda goes, but you know what's crazy is that one night I was working here, and I was walking down the hallway, and I swear to God, I saw a shadow person. And they weren't really there. It was, have you ever heard of shadow people? It's like a big ghost thing. People don't know what they are. And Johnny's like, what? He never told anyone what he saw. And Amanda goes on, she goes, yeah, I've seen crazy stuff here. See these shadow people. In fact, let me tell you some other stories that other employees have seen here. And then Amanda starts talking about other employees who had witnessed Shadowman phenomenon there. Specifically Shadowman. And at that point, Johnny goes, well, I also saw a little ghost boy a while back, and I hit him with my cart, and it freaked me out. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want anyone to think I was insane. So very short story. And it is going to be the only story we cover today. But very fascinating story. Like, just cut out all the stupid stuff about the girl. That's at least 10 minutes you can fit another ghost story in there. Well, yeah, but it's the journey. It's the journey we're on. I read this story and I thought, well, what's fascinating? Okay, so haunted places can kind of be anywhere. A place that has a lot of emotional energy can definitely be more haunted. And what places have more emotional energy than a church or a hospital or a psych ward, right? A mental hospital where people are in all states. You not only have the patients, but the patient's family members. They come to visit. Oh, Uncle Adam, he went nuts a couple months ago. And look at him now, and you're just like in the observation room. But Jason, well, here's the thing. I'm not making fun of crazy people, as I was about to make a joke about Uncle Adam. I told you guys the story about my uncle who ended up in a mental hospital. I did that on a old episode. It was really sad. I'll tell it very briefly. When he was younger, he snorted a lot of crank. That's not what made him go crazy. Someone put battery acid in his crank. It's called a hot shot. Someone put battery acid in his crank, so when he snorted the crank, it totally messed up his brain. Obviously, because he's snorting battery acid. And you don't know, right? You just get a little vial or baggie or however. He got it and he snorted it and snorted a bunch of battery acid. Totally jacked up his brain. So he was in a mental hospital for a little bit after that, but he got out. He was totally fine. I knew him before the battery acid, and I knew him after the battery acid, and I didn't really notice a difference. And I don't know if that says something about my uncle, something about me, or something about the state of medical care. They are able to undo a lot of the battery acid damage. But what had happened as time went on, 20 years or so, is obviously I was much, much younger than him. And so I didn't know that he was having some mental health issues. I know that he really loves the NASCAR. He had this giant scale model that he built of the Indy 500, the racetrack, right? He would always buy Hot Wheel cars that were like the NASCAR cars. So he was probably in his 30s. I think there was an age difference of probably about 25, 30 years between us, close to that. Well, anyways, I remember one year he'd threatened to kill a bunch of people, so I wasn't allowed to go visit my grandma that summer because my grandma lived right next door to him. They didn't tell me why. They just said, you can't go see Grandma McGee this summer. I was like, why not? And they're like, we're not going to tell you. But then a couple years later, they go, hey, remember that time we want to go visit Grandma McGee? Because I spent every summer with her. They go, yeah, your uncle was talking about killing everybody, so we didn't want you down there. I was like, oh, pretty smart decision, but he didn't kill anyone. However, longer in life, the brain damage got worse or something like that. And he thought he was Dale Earnhardt, the famous NASCAR driver. He thought he was Dale Earnhardt. And it was really sad because they had to put him in a mental hospital. He thought he was Dale Earnhardt, and his parents would come to visit him, and he'd be like, hey, get me out of here. I'm Dale Earnhardt. get me out of here. I don't know who you guys are, but you obviously, like, know me. So you get me out of here, and I'll take you a couple laps around the racetrack. I'll make it work through a while. And how heartbreaking is that for parents, right? To see your kid just be insane and not even recognize you. It'd be one thing if he's like, I'll kill you, father. You were always so mean to me. I'll kill you. The dad will be like, oh, this is kind of distressing, but at least he remembers who I am. Oh, he's calling me dad. The father-son bond never fails. But imagine if he didn't know who you were. You're like, Jason, those are both horrifying. I know you're not a parent. But if my kid was threatening to murder me, it would be distressing, but what would be worse? If your son wanted to murder you, or if your son thought he was Dale Earnhardt and didn't recognize you. Like, what's worse, right? That should be the name of this podcast, because it's pretty much all it's become. What's worse? So anyways, I said all that stuff because that means I can make fun of mental hospitals. My uncle was in one. I've always had a fear of going insane. That's a big personal fear of mine. But I think I'm out of the woods. I would assume. I'm definitely not schizophrenic. But I was concerned. I kept thinking, what if I'm crazy? But I'm not. So the idea is here that this guy works at a mental hospital. And it's haunted. And it would be, a haunted church, whatever. You could just assume that the ghosts were angels or something like that. Haunted cemetery, you don't really go there much anyways. Haunted, abandoned insane asylum, you go there urban exploring, you hear rattling chains or whatever. But a haunting in an active insane asylum, I mean, think about it, that's like the worst place for the people in it. Because you're already dealing with all these mental health issues, and now you're seeing things that shouldn't exist. And despite the fact that we all love the paranormal, not everyone believes in it. And if someone says, there's a Shadowman in my room, the Shadowman's trying to beat me up, a lot of people wouldn't believe him. They wouldn't believe you if you said that. A lot of people would go, I don't really believe you. You have all these bruises. You're like, no, trust me. Take your shirt off, you're covered in bruises. They're like, yeah, those do look like fists from beyond. They do only have 3 fingers, but I think you're just making it up. If you said, hey, a ghost beat me up or a Shadowman beat me up this morning, that's why I was late for work, your boss isn't going to believe you. But maybe, like, if I was your boss, I'd be like, take the week off. Take 2 weeks off. Fight that Shadowman. Get him out of your house. But imagine if you were diagnosed insane. And you want to get out. You want to get out of the insane asylum. And they're like, so, do you keep thinking that you are Dale Earnhardt? And you go, no, I don't think that anymore. As you're like looking over at a Hot Wheel, or like someday, car number 3, we'll get out of here. You go, no, I don't think I'm Dale Earnhardt. And they go, okay, so do you still hear voices? Do you hear voices telling you it's time to come into the pit? It's time to change the tires. You're like, nope, I don't hear that at all. And they go, so everything's totally normal? And you go, yeah, I don't know if I'd say normal. Every so often, a all-black silhouette of a child sneaks into my room. I'm not crazy. Like, that's actually real. I was crazy about the other stuff. I realized I was crazy about all that other crazy stuff. There's actually Shadowmen walking around this building. No doctor is going to let that dude go. They're going to put down on his chart, still delusional. Hold for another 6 months. And you have to imagine if the employees are seeing the shadow people, and they're talking amongst each other. And again, Johnny saw it and didn't say anything, but eventually he did. You have to imagine the patients are seeing them too. So they're already struggling with real mental health issues, and now they're struggling with paranormal issues. And you also got to look at the idea of what is the Shadowman's goal in this place? Is it to feed off the negative energy? Are they ghosts of previous residents? Are they shades of the people who lived there or were interned there before? Captive? What's the term? Incarcerated there? Because Shadowmen tend to be a different type of entity, but a shadow child? How many kids have been in that insane asylum? I don't know. Maybe there's a bunch of them. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. I've officially looked over it. I'm like 32 minutes. Oh, okay. Let's start wrapping this up. But it would be really hard to prove that you were sane when you were seeing these visions. And these things are real. This is not a delusion. You're actually seeing this. And imagine if you really were trying to be sane. You're like, my family needs me to be not crazy. I'm going to work really hard and not be crazy. You're just in the room. You're like, don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. You're tensing up. And then finally all the voices disappear. They go, oh, that's all you had to do was ask us. But then you're seeing these shadow people. It's terrifying. It'd probably be the scariest place to encounter a ghost. Because if you were an employee, you'd think you were going insane. You're like, dude, is this place rubbing off on me? And if you were a patient, even if you were making progress towards being sane again, you'd see something. You never had a delusion about shadow people. You never seen anything like that. Your insanity was based on something else. Maybe you had extreme OCD, or you were afraid of clocks or something like that. And while you're slowly making progress, getting a control over that, now you're seeing a shadow kid crawl out from underneath your bed and then just walk through the wall. Like, you're like, okay, no, I guess I am crazy. I guess I am crazy because what I just saw was impossible. It would feel like those things picked that place specifically to mess with people. Both employees and patients. And if the employees are having these stories, the patients may be having these stories as well, but they're definitely not telling anyone because they're already dealing with enough mental health issues. They don't want another dose of medication because they saw the boogeyman walk down the hallway one night. So they would keep their mouths closed and just hope they could get out of that insane asylum. Because it's one thing to be trapped with other crazies. It's a completely different thing to be trapped with paranormal entities. And you don't know what their true purpose is. Well, anyways, that is the end. We only got to the one story because I talked about all the other stuff. But I literally can't talk anymore. My mouth is sore. I'm going to the dentist tomorrow. They're going to irrigate it or something, peel it open. There's some sort of weird flap that has appeared over the top of it. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, hopefully I'm better. But we're going to have 2 more tiny stories. Tomorrow we'll do the Max Kramer story. That'll probably be the whole episode. And then we'll have, maybe I'll be better. Maybe we'll do a full-length episode on Thursday. And then we'll do that bonus episode to finally come out. And then I'll take a 2-week break. But I wanted to get some stuff out for you, and I feel I like this episode. I'll be honest, I recorded a previous one, and it did feel phoned in. I did that way earlier, and that was longer, but I didn't like it, so I kind of ran out of gas doing this one, but I wanted to get you one that I thought was good, even though it wasn't, 2 stories. But, I'm trying my best. And you guys have been really patient with me, so I really do appreciate that. Tomorrow, come on back for some Max Kramer, some new Max Kramer stuff. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have a great